We share from experience. Moms talk about things that affect moms in general. The mommy entrepreneurs, we are the moms that handle business, and that means a lot. Remember, Entrepremommies.
Hello and welcome back to Entrepremommies. My name is Tiffy T, the Resellqueen, also known as Tiffany Tracey. And
hello, this is Nicole Flamer. How's everybody doing?
We are back, everybody. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
We are definitely back. We have a fun-filled informational show ready for everyone. As you can see, we got a new format. We are going live
indeed.
on YouTube and on Facebook, so you get to see us or hear us, whichever way you prefer, because we are the mommies that handle business, and that's how we handle our business. So probably the first thing to get into is, where the heck have we been?
It's a good question. That's a good question. Do you want to start? Or you want me to start?
Well, why don't you start? Because I see that you got a new background.
Oh, yes, I do. Right? I'm not going to show you the other half of the room. But okay. So I believe the last show we did was what? Was it 2019? Was it the end of 2019? Was it 2020?
It was the end of 2019, but I think we wrapped things up in 2020 because we did some things ahead of time. Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Gosh, that seems like a whole lifetime ago. But okay. So I on a personal level have been trying to buy a house, and I finally bought and settled on my home, and this is my study. So I was living with my parents, so with my 5 kids, trying to run a business, trying to do whatever, and it just wasn't working. But I bought a house. My business, I cut out a few things. I kept the drop shipping aspect of my business. With COVID and everything, it kind of shifted. Like, I was doing cleaning. I cut that out, mainly because I was living with elderly people, and I didn't want to put them at risk, and even my children at that point. It just became an extra thing, an extra risk I didn't want to take. Yeah, I mean, really, I really, what I ended up doing over the last year and a half is just mainstreaming my life into something that's a little bit more simpler, because I was home with the kids and my parents, which was fun. We couldn't escape. We couldn't escape to go do activities and stuff because everything was shut down. There were no, I have 3 special needs kids, and pretty much all their extra programs, their assistants that they get, they have aides and people that come into the house, that all shut down for a good 6 months. And everybody was trying to do Zoom stuff, and my kids don't do Zoom. I mean, if they want to be on the computer, it's because they want to look at something. They don't want to sit and watch other people do stuff. So I had to streamline my life to include them more, and I couldn't do things where, I have another show as well, as part of different from Entrepremommies. I wasn't able to do that because my kids were home all the time, and there was no silence or anything like that. So I had to streamline a lot of things, but I'm in a good place. I'm blessed. So no complaints. I think I've bounced back pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where I've been, home.
Right?
Yes.
Well, for me, 2020 it was a gut punch for me because it wasn't just, the pandemic. I got hit with a death in my family early on. right in the beginning of the pandemic. My aunt died, which doesn't sound like, oh, it's your aunt, but in my family, your aunt is also like your mom.
Right.
Because we all grew up together. We all grew up in the same house. Sometimes when I used to spend the night at my grandmom's house, I slept in her bed with her. We are a very close-knit family, even though we're all kind of spread out. So that was a big gut punch. And that happened, literally, she passed away probably like a week before the restrictions came for COVID.
Okay.
So we had to plan a funeral and then replan a funeral and then replan a funeral. So every day, I will say for our funeral director, as far as her business acumen during this time, which honestly, back then, no one really knew what was going on.
Right.
She was very on point with making sure that she kept in contact with us. And she, with her being, she's the funeral director. So there's legalities that she has. There's certain health standards that she has to practice. And she kept in contact with us every step of the way to say, okay, this is what the new procedure is. This is what the association is saying that we need to do. And was very, very good at holding our hand during a time period where you're already going through grief, but then you add COVID on top of grief. And that's, I wish it on no one. And so, but the one thing that I'm grateful for is because of having my own business, I didn't have to go to a job and say, look, I'm going to need a couple months off.
Right.
I got too much stuff happening. My aunt passed away. She didn't have any kids. So there were no children to worry about her estate. Someone had to call her job. There's so many different things that happen when a person passes that you just don't think about. You got to call all her bills and say she passed away. Someone has to take the time out to do that. Yeah. Well, everyone else was working. So guess who did that? That was me. Yeah. So I did that. And then going through grieving and then COVID, I live in Virginia, as I talk about a lot. So my whole family is out in Pennsylvania. So I was staying out in Pennsylvania, trying to get all of that stuff done in the middle of COVID. So certain places may have been open. Some places may be restricted. I did a lot of stuff over the phone and did a lot of things where thankfully I brought my computer with me. So I was able to send documents, get things scanned. In fact, while I was there, because thankfully I was at my mom's, my mom had basic computer setup, which means she just has a Chromebook. Right. So I had to buy a refurbished printer that was like a scanner printer type thing so that I could get things done. My husband thankfully shipped like half my studio to me so that I could do things and get things done. But I'm thankful for that. And then, you move along with the business, some things I had to shut down. I was looking into opening up a daycare. I had my paperwork already together. The only thing I needed to do was the second process for the state. And in my particular state, there's like a stage 1 and a stage 2 process. And the stage 2 process is when you have the building. That's when they come out and do the whole inspection and all of that stuff. So I've already took the classes, had the paperwork, knew who some of the employees were going to be. And then COVID comes. And I've said to my husband many times during this time, I am so glad we did not open up that daycare.
Could you imagine? Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, there's a need for daycare.
Right.
But people aren't working.
No.
Right. So the amounts that I had in my frame of mind for payroll really would have to double.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize when you have employees, oh, you think, so if I pay you $10 an hour, they think, oh, it's only cost me $10 an hour. No, it does not. It can
Right.
cost anywhere between 10, sometimes all the way up to $15 an hour per employee.
Right. Yeah.
And because you have to pay the employee, you have to pay for the processing of their documents and getting their payroll set up. Even if I were to do the payroll myself, so to speak, it still takes time because
It does.
Uncle Sam wants their money.
They do.
Because a lot of people don't realize that when I take taxes out of someone's check, those taxes don't just sit in my bank account and I get to use them. They go to Uncle Sam. And not only
Yes.
that, I got to add to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
No one
Pay
tells
your
you that.
portion.
I got to
Right.
add my employer portion to that.
Yeah.
So if I was thinking about, oh, okay, I'm maybe paying people $10 an hour, which is kind of where I was at for a start, just for regular aides in a room, not for like the people that would have a degree in early childhood education or something like that, would be like the teacher of the room.
Right.
They would get more, obviously, but that was the bulk of what the payroll was going to be. And I'm like, I'm so glad I did not go forward with this, because I was already looking at properties to see where I could put those, where I could put the business. So, and now I'm looking at different news reports, and there's daycares are being shut down right now.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not because people don't need them. It's because they can't get people to work in them.
Yes. This labor shortage that we're all experiencing. Yeah.
And it's something, and then like with my resale business, like the liquidation market just dried up for like a short time period because no one was moving.
Right.
The stores were being picked bare, and then logistically there wasn't any movement. So there wasn't a lot happening on the liquidation front. So I kind of put that to the side.
Yeah.
And I decided, all right, I need to focus on what I can replenish. And that's what I did. I turned mostly wholesale. I talked about this on my other podcast on Resellqueen Chronicles. I had a person that sells MLMs, and the MLMs, as we all know, they live off of house parties.
Yeah.
They do, Facebook Lives and things like that. But for the most part, everyone knows you go to a Tupperware party at someone's house on a Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
They couldn't do that in the middle of COVID.
No.
So they were trying to utilize as much, social media as possible. But then a lot of the companies were like, okay, if y'all want to start selling online, start selling online. Because we need the product to move too.
Right.
And I had a few people come to me and say, I know you sell online. I'm selling this stuff and I was doing well. COVID hit, teach me to sell online. So that's what I did. I did that. And then I kind of entered the world myself and was like, oh, well, if you can sell it online, so can I.
That's true, right? Yeah.
So I've, kind of, now every MLM is not going to allow that, but the ones that understand 1 + 1 = 2 will.
That's right. So, they want that money to come in. Yeah.
So that's where I've been.
Well, you brought up a very interesting point about people shifting and wanting to learn how to sell online and wanting to have websites. I can't tell you how many people that we went to high school with, people that, just on Facebook, all of a sudden popped up with a side hustle or, started selling whatever kind of craft or thing. People opened up whole new businesses, and it was pretty interesting to watch. Just because we've been doing this for years, and just to see other people enter the marketplace was very interesting. And I'm curious now that things, COVID is around us. It probably will be for years, but I'm curious to see how many people will stay in that arena and sell online, and how many people have already given up and, tried something else.
I think it's all according to how much effort they put into it and how much money they're making. Because I know for me, I was always scared to branch out on my own.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was basically forced, where I lost the job that I was so beholden to, and
Right.
was kind of had my back up against the wall, that I said, okay, it's time to gamble on myself.
Right.
And I've always been a person where people are like, oh, you should have a business. And I'm like, no, I want no business. I don't want that responsibility.
Right.
Because you're not going to have a backup plan, at least with, if with my job, if I can't come to work, I got sick time, that was where my mindset was at until I had no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you get that taste of freedom.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, just something as simple as I was able to go to my son's football games, pick him up from practice. I didn't have to go through a whole thing to get him from point A to point B because the job won't let me leave until this time. Well, now my schedule was around him, which was great, because my first business was cleaning. I bought a commercial cleaning franchise. That was my first real official business. I've always did like little side hustles here and there, but that was
my alarm.
That was my first
Forgot
real.
to turn that off, right?
That's all right. It's first show back. This is how it's going to be. That was my first real official doing business as myself. And once I got that freedom, it was like, oh yeah, I should have been doing this a long time ago.
Right.
Even to the point where during this whole pandemic time, my husband's job, they needed people really bad, just like every other job. So I even said to my husband, all right, how about I just, apply, see if they take me for a position. Of course they did. Of course they did. I have a lot of experience. I don't want to be in management because that's way too much responsibility I did not want to take, even though, but let me tell you, it's very hard once you have your own successful business, that when you go into another business and you just see everything that they're doing wrong, you just want to stop what you're doing and say, that you're alienating your customers, right? And it's very, very hard because you're under the constraints of another business and another company that has nothing to do with you. You're just, a warm body for them. And you're like, y'all, you're alienating your customers. Stop alienating your customers.
Yeah.
And you feel it even in the training. You're like, this isn't going to work, And of course it didn't last that long for me, well, COVID hit. And we started back to school. First, I would say first 2 weeks was great. Went back to school. Kids got to wear a mask, all that stuff. Third week, I get a phone call. Hey, someone in your son's class has been either exposed to COVID or has COVID. So he needs
my favorite
weeks. What? Wait a minute. What? So now my husband has to tell his job, hey, my kid's on quarantine. What do we do? Now I'm working from home, so I don't technically have, a way to be like, oh, my kid's on quarantine, so I can't come to work. But then my husband was home for about a week during that time period. And then we're like, okay, how many times can we handle this? Because the school did not have a lot of things in place for what happens during that time. Now, I believe they probably do now, but they, in my opinion, were not prepared. So here I am trying to figure out what my kid's going to do all day, because he's not going to watch TV all day, because I need him in school mode. So we have 2 weeks of no real instruction. I'm downloading stuff from homeschool websites, trying to make sure that he has some type of stimulation of his brain to help him with learning, even if it's just reinforcing what he already knew, because he was only in school for 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things, and it's like, how do you shift your life for a week or 2 weeks? Because I mean, I had to deal with quarantine last year, right after Thanksgiving, and especially with people coming in and out of the house, I'm like, okay, so now I got to tell these people that they can't come, and that's their paychecks. So yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment, but I think streamlining the business and then what we as a family put our attention and time to help, because we were doing so many things. It just, I couldn't keep up with them. I just, and it's, my parents helped me out, but pretty much I'm by myself, traveling with the kids, and it was just too much. And I've even found that, I've been getting more sick just trying to keep up. And I mean, just like I've been getting sick. Um, and I just had to let things go. I mean, even moving into this house just recently, I was still trying to move and keep up with the kids stuff, the kids like activities and everything. And it's too much. It's too much. And I think if anything that COVID has taught me is that I don't have to do everything and I don't have to be everywhere, and it's all going to be okay regardless. And even for my business too. I mean, my business runs on, like, I do drop shipping. So, times, because most of the products come from outside the United States. So during some of the COVID time periods, oh my gosh, we're talking about a month and a half for people to get their products. They were not happy
And that was
campers.
good.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
was
good
good.
time frame.
Thanks. Like,
That's a good time frame. So, I mean, literally the whole world shut down.
The whole world. Yes, yes,
The
yep.
whole world shut
Yeah.
down.
I mean, do you
So,
remember getting those emails? They were talking about China is shut down. Like, you'd get emails from warehouses like, we're not going to be shipping.
I got some. Well, it's funny because remember, I remember I think we talked about this in January of 2020,
Yes.
because we already knew about coronavirus, but it was also like the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
So it was
Yes.
a combination of, okay, the Chinese New Year, they are celebrating, and they don't just celebrate one day.
No.
It's like a whole festive thing that happens for like a week or so.
Right.
And when that happens, there's no manufacturing, there's no shipping, no one is working. They are on holiday.
Yes.
So we knew about that, and then we was like, there's this thing called coronavirus happening. And so knowing that those things were happening, we talked about that in our older shows, and talked about, okay, I start looking at US suppliers, or look at suppliers in other countries, because at that point it was just China. And but now it's not just China, everywhere had an outbreak. Every country handled it different. I mean, really, we as Americans are just now allowed in some countries, because it was
because of our rates are too high. Yeah.
I'm waiting for school to shut down.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that too. I said, right before Thanksgiving, or like, I feel like we're going to have another shutdown of some sort, just because last year was just they just kind of, threw that on us. It's like all of a sudden the school was going to shut down for Thanksgiving and that whole week because of the travel issues and people coming back and forth. I think they're going to do something similar. But I try not to pay attention to the news too much, because it's too depressing and I don't want to get scared. So
I can understand. One thing actually I didn't even talk about. I lost a tiny little bit of weight.
You lost a lot of weight. Talk about a tiny little bit.
So during COVID, they talked about the COVID-15. Well, I lost about 75 pounds.
Good Lord. Oh my gosh.
And honestly, it's really funny. It's because I didn't start out really to lose weight. I kind of just, every day on the news, all I heard was how if you're fat and black, you're going to die of coronavirus.
Right. Yes.
Now I'm like, okay, I'm black, so I check that mark. I'm fat, I check that one. I have a 6-year-old. I need to be alive for him.
Yes,
and there was so much we didn't know back then. Right. We didn't even have a treatment for COVID. Back then it was we're being told, hey, drink Lysol or bleach,
Right. But it's
press
real.
conference
It was
from the
real.
White
It was
House
real.
saying things like that. So you're like, okay, nobody knows what's
Yeah.
going on. If this thing hits me, I need to be alive. Like
Right.
I said to my husband, I said, one of us got to be here.
Right.
My husband was working this whole time. His
Right.
job never shut down because his job, he works outside. He
Yeah.
worked on the transmission lines that give you internet.
Yes. He's
So
essential.
he's definitely essential. But not only is he
Yes.
essential, these like telecommunications companies, they were not ready for this.
No. Mm-mm.
They were not prepared or ready for this. Now,
Yeah.
if you happen to live in a metropolitan area, you may not have felt how rough it was for internet.
Mhm.
But if you are in the country, oh honey, you felt it. And I
Yeah.
mean, you really felt how the internet just really was not working.
Right.
That was a big, 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 big issue
Yes.
for us.
Yes.
We had to bump up our speed because my kid was on the internet all day.
Mm-hmm.
And you got 5 kids on the internet all day.
Yes. Oh gosh,
So
that
how are
first
you
couple
able
of
to
months.
work on your business?
I wasn't able to work on I had to for drop shipping, a lot of it's streamlined. It's just I get orders and then I fill the orders.
Right.
But like any type of advertising, any type of promotion, any type of, anything like that, I have definitely as a business owner been lax. And, I'm glad to still have sales without having to do any of that stuff, but it has definitely hurt. Now, here was the other thing with COVID. My sales tripled during COVID because people were home shopping. So it was
Yes. Well, and that's the other thing. That's the thing that kind of makes it a little bit hard and rough when you talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that were getting ready to get kicked out of their houses because they didn't have a
that's a
job.
whole other, right?
They didn't have the money to pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
Here we were. I couldn't even keep up with the sales at one point because, and people were just buying stuff that I'm like, people are buying this in the middle of a pandemic.
Right, that's what I was wondering too. I'm like, what is? People are just bored.
I'm like, y'all buying this in the middle of a pandemic? But like, I had these puzzles
Mm-hmm.
from the dollar store that it was one of those things where I've kind of gotten them. They sell every now and again.
Yeah.
I got out of them suckers within like a month because people were bored. They needed something to do in their house.
Bored. Yes. Yeah.
This was actually 2020, and actually 2021 is a banner year for my business, especially for the reselling business. I was talking about this on Resellqueen Chronicles. Every month this year has been profit.
Yes. Yes.
To the point where I'm like, oh, I gotta spend some more money. Like that's why I went out and bought a new laptop because I needed it. But I'm like, I need to get some more expenses up in here because I was looking. I'm like, every freaking month I have profit, and here I am sending out, the taxes, quarterly, and I'm like, oh, this getting kind of high. What am I doing? I'm like, oh, every month I have profit. Now it's weird to be like, oh, I have profit, but even though we're business owners, we're not billionaire companies.
Right.
So we feel the tax hit when we have to pay it. We're not the large corporate conglomerate that, that's part of, some other corporate conglomerate in another country that can hide and shell companies and all that type of stuff. We're just regular everyday moms that took a side hustle and made it legal. And we use that extra money to take care of things in our household. Right. Well, when you start making more money, you start getting more taxes.
That's right.
And I mean, I'm very thankful for that for my youngest child because that makes a difference in the taxes. I like, it's funny. I remember the first time my husband and I did our taxes, and I got, well, I did them. He didn't do
Mm-hmm.
anything. But, and I was like, okay, looks like we might get a refund of, it was like maybe like $1,500. It wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah.
He wasn't
What?
used to that.
I was like, what's wrong? He was like, I've never gotten a refund ever.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm lucky to break even. I'm like, well, you're married with a kid now. Things are different.
Yes.
I
Welcome
was
to
like,
the world of parenthood. Sometimes
exactly.
they pay. Sometimes you're not paying for them. Sometimes they pay.
Let
Yeah.
me tell you, the things that were given out during this time period,
Oh, yeah.
like that, like the, well, we didn't really get much of a, what was that, of a stimulus, because
Stimulus. Okay.
because of our income. So like, we didn't get the full amount.
Yeah.
We got, I like to call it an abridged version of it.
Yeah.
But we are getting like a small amount for like that child tax credit
Yes.
every
Yeah.
month. Now you can opt out of it, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm going to take it, and I'm going to actually do with it better than what the government's going to do with it. I'm going
Right.
to put it into something and invest it into something.
Yeah.
Who knows how long this is going to be? So I'm going
Yeah.
to take that and invest it into a vehicle that can maybe, provide some generational wealth for my family.
Right.
I mean, we're only talking like $100 here, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm just going to take it and utilize it for something positive. I'm not going to go out and buy a new purse.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I felt. Like a lot of the money, the stimulus money I used for the house, I either used it to pay for extras and upgrades, or just for my down payments for my deposits and whatnot. Because I felt like, you know, when's this ever going to happen again? It's like, you know what I mean? So I might as well take advantage of it because, otherwise, I mean, I had saved money prior to like some of the stimulus money that had come in. But when is this ever going to happen again? So
Yeah,
might as
not
well
to get
level up,
dropped.
right?
Exactly,
It's like,
right. Well, and I think
yeah,
that's what you were supposed to do with it.
right.
Now,
Yeah,
did you get any PPP loans or anything
I
or anything
did. I did. I
like that?
got two PPP loans for my business, and then I got a disaster thingy. I got two of
Okay.
those as well. So yeah, I took advantage because I looked at some of the reports that had come out after the first PPP loans that were offered. I didn't take advantage of, and then they were talking about how these big banks and stuff and all these large companies had taken advantage of it, and I'm thinking to myself like, if out of anybody, do they? I mean, I'm sure they need it, but I
Mhm.
feel like I'm working my butt off too. I might as well take advantage of it, because the first time I was like, yeah, I'll just leave it. And then I saw who was getting it, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to take advantage of it the second round. So yeah, but yeah, because I have a mindset like I've talked to people before, and I talked to one lady who has a side company, and when we were talking about PPP loans and all the assistance, and she was like, "Yeah, well, I don't think I want to take advantage of that. I'll leave that for someone else." And I'm like, "Why? It's earmarked for small businesses. It is money that most likely, I mean, you've paid into regardless, we all pay taxes in some way, shape, or form. We either pay taxes on products, or we pay taxes directly because of business, or we pay taxes because of personal. We're always paying taxes every time we pretty much buy something, one way or another. We
Exactly.
work into the system. I mean, how many jobs have you had you've paid into the system somewhat, So
Whew.
people kind of, when I hear people say, leave it for someone else, I'm like, you're really leaving your own money on the table. Um, these large companies have no problem taking corporate welfare or whatever when they need to, because they are the largest welfare recipients. So therefore, if you are trying to start something on your own, please do not take this kind of pride issue of like, I don't deserve this or someone else deserves it. No, you deserve it. The government has billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. They're going to spend it. They already have it earmarked. You might as well take part of it. I mean, to get off your high horse and go down and get your money. Like it's not, otherwise it's going to go to Chase, Amazon,
Right.
Microsoft, and what's the Tesla
Yeah.
guy who just became a trillionaire?
Elon Musk.
Okay. Yes,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna go. You can check on the internet and see if he got his PPP loan. So,
Okay.
so
Okay.
there's no shame, and most people, it's a mindset shift that people have to make, because most of us, we grow up with a poverty mindset, and people who
Ooh.
have wealth
Ooh.
usually don't have the same hangups about things that people who have to struggle when they grow up, or people that aren't as wealthy when they grow up. There was a lot of things that I had to change about my mindset as I got older, which would have kept me in poverty or brought me into poverty, like just certain ways of thinking about things. And if you realize that what makes your decision, your choices, your life any less than anyone else's, unless you let somebody tell you that. I mean, as Black people, we are
I think Nikki
there you go.
somehow.
Did you see
There
it?
we go. There you go.
Oh,
You're back, girl. Because you
it's
was
like,
on a roll,
here
girl.
they
You
come.
was on
They're
a
like, don't
roll.
talk, shut her down, shut her
I was
down.
like, you was talking too much empowerment. They said shut her down. That's too much empowerment. That's too much.
no. Well, I better get it in quick then before
get it
that.
in before, because they don't like that empowerment stuff, girl.
They don't. That's funny. That's funny. Like I said, a
That's funny.
buzzword or
You was
something.
preaching that empowerment. They didn't like that. They didn't like that, girl.
That's
And they were like, shut them little girls down right now. Come down.
Well, quickly, I remember coming up and people would always talk about Black people looking for handouts, not working as hard as other people, and it's such misinformation. It's so not true. And people, it's an individual thing, first of all, if you're gonna work or not work. But a lot of people, what I didn't realize coming up is there's a lot of people that get a lot of help to get where they are, and it's not looked at as help. It's looked at as a stepping stone, and that's what you have to look at it as. And then you have to change your mindset. You pay just as much as anybody else pays based off of how much money you make.
Once again, she was giving out too much empowerment, getting ready to shut that down. Well, it makes me think of this one quote. It's that never let another person make you feel inferior.
Amen. Yes. Yeah.
And I saw it somewhere. I know I've heard it growing up, but then I saw it in like some teenage movie, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Never let no one else make you feel inferior.
Yes.
I'm entitled to this. I can take it because everybody else that's entitled to it takes it.
That's
I didn't take anything the first round.
Right.
Because really the first round I was like, they're not even going to offer any of this to me. I'm just a small, tiny little business.
Right. Exactly.
What?
That's how I was thinking,
it's not really going to be set out for me. And then you start seeing what other people are doing with it, and you're like, hold up.
Right.
They get stop and freeze. Which, by the way, that's not what the money was for.
Right.
So all y'all that was out there, doing Rodeo Drive, getting new cars and stuff, that's not what the money was for. You're going to have to pay that back.
Yes. And you know what's funny? Like the ChickfilA out here, they totally shut down for like 3 months and rebuilt their drive-through system. How do you people think that they rebuilt that? You think
I was just there when I came out there.
Yes.
Nice setup how they got that. They expanded it like
totally.
They completely expanded. It's like what, a 2-3 lane drive-through.
Yes. Oh, it's like an expressway down there. And, yeah.
And it's so efficient. Okay. Let's not even get into how efficient ChickfilA is. But I was just there like not too long ago, because I was out in the Ville not too long
Yeah.
ago, and I was like, oh, is this how it's set up now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing I thought of. Oh, they must got that PPP money.
Yes, yep. And that's how they did it. And now they're probably tripled their sales by being able to make those extra, because they were backing up. You've seen it. They were backing up that whole road down there, and now it's so much better. But they're also probably tripling in sales anyway, because everybody just loves Chick-fil-A. So.
Well, and the thing that's funny, even like there's restaurants near me where even now we're in my state, we're allowed to go into restaurants and eat.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are just like, no, we take out only now.
Right. Yeah.
Because like the one spot that I go to, you go right in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
They got the menu sitting on a little board with a QR code if you want to do that. Yes. And they come out, take your order. She got the John do your card. Yeah. Okay. She got a little changer thing. Like she's set up. Okay. They are not opening up the doors. And right. I understand, because
I get it.
Then they have to pay for waiters and waitresses.
Yeah.
This way, and actually the person who's coming out to the car is the owner's wife. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So they only got one waitress.
Yes.
Okay. And then their son also brings food out too. All right. So they got one waitress, which is family. So we already know how that works. Okay. Yeah. And then they got the people in the back making the food, because they did try to open, but they couldn't keep people in there to be waiters and waitresses, because they were making more money off of unemployment.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, shoot, if you think about it, if you're working a job where you make, I don't even know what waiters and waitresses make, like $2.50, $3.
Yeah, they don't make, and even with tips. Yeah, I mean, it probably maybe brings them up to like $10 an hour.
Right, and tips are only as good as where you work.
That's true. If you got cheap people that you're serving, they ain't leaving tips. Right, or they're leaving little tips. Yeah.
If you're in a busy thoroughway where people are constantly coming in, constantly going out, okay, you could make well with tips. But if you just sitting around, like there's a place that I picked up, I pick up my order from on Friday. There was like 3-4 waitresses just sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so they're not making no money tonight. And are you going to get dressed? Maybe get a babysitter?
Right.
Put shoes on, go out the house, spend your money in your car for gas, just to go sit somewhere and only make $2.
Yeah. Well, the thing is just how it all unfolded. I mean, restaurants were the first businesses to close, so these people without much notice were kicked to the curb anyway. And then they didn't really set up the unemployment that quickly. The extra unemployment, I think it took them a couple of weeks. So these people had to transition. And then now most restaurants, if they were smart, turned into primary delivery type operations and, ghost kitchen type situations. Because dining, even if you could get people who wanted to come in, you had all kinds of restrictions on how many people you could have. I think most people suffered from, I think I've eaten at 2 restaurants indoors since the pandemic started, because I don't want to sit. I don't want to I have this whole, I've become, if anything, I've become more OCD about cleanliness and about just,
and it's, and I know we weren't even going to talk about this, but it's kind of, for me, now we have different family members, some that are like, all right, whatever, they just go anywhere.
Right.
So since they just go anywhere, I ain't going near them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think about, like, for us, me and you, we have our high school reunion coming up next month.
Right.
Tiffany's coming with a face shield.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
okay. You know why? Because I sell them and I have a whole bunch. And I pulled a few out. So if anyone needs one or two, I'll have some. Okay. Because I ain't playing around with none of y'all. Because I don't know how y'all keep. It's bad enough. I don't know how people keep their house, but I don't know who you around and who they around and who they around. It's too much.
Yes.
You know, it's yeah. I'll say hi and bye. You know, and I'll do my two-step, but with my face shield on. Okay, I'm trying to. In fact, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do my hair around the face shield. I think I figured it out. But I'm coming with my face shield on, and I'm going to be in all the pictures
with your
face shield on. I don't care. I don't care.
I hear you. I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you better not cough near me. Okay.
Oh God.
Okay. There was a time when if a person was coughing or sneezing, you're like, "Oh, bless you." Now it's, "What the hell you doing inside?"
That's right. Or I'm on the other side of the room.
What you doing in here? You know?
I was in the grocery store the other day, and somebody in the aisle, like when you're getting ready to go into the next aisle, coughed. And I went the opposite direction. I said, I am not walking through your cough.
I do the same thing. I don't have time. If people just sitting there, they just ha and he and I will turn my cart right around. Actually, let me stop lying. I'm barely inside because the one thing I've utilized, and actually that's what helped me lose weight, was the grocery pickup.
Yes.
Because with grocery pickup, I'm only getting what I order. Because I'm good for walking around the store and go, "Oh, those look good. Let me pick them up."
Right. Let me try these.
Let me try that. Oh, I ain't seen those cookies. Let me try that. You know, I'm good for that. But when you do the order pickup, you only get what you order.
That's right.
So when I'm ordering kale, I'm getting kale. Yes, I drink a kale, banana, and Irish sea moss smoothie every day. So I do that every day so I can get my nutrients first thing. Okay. I do that. So I also have got my different herb teas and stuff like that. Actually, we're gonna put a link on. We'll have a sponsorship from them soon because I already signed up. I was like, yeah, I take these all the time. We might as well let other people know about it, and we can get a little revenue off of that. So we'll have an affiliate link up for that soon. Nice teas. And with this thing with these teas, you don't just use them one time and throw them away. You can continue to keep using them and keep using them. Love them. I'm all my nutrients. That's why I said all I kept hearing was if you fat and black, you're gonna die from COVID. So I can't change nothing about being black.
And don't apply for no funding.
Right? I can't change being black, but I can change the status of being fat. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so that's all I did. That's all I did. Now I'm still what they call big boned, but I went from a size 24. Now I'm a size 12. So we're trying to get down to size 8. So that's what we're trying to do over here. So, but one thing that a lot of people don't think about with their business is, do they know anything about their business credit or their personal credit? Well, Nav.com. That website will help you learn and monitor your credit and personal business credit. So we have a link in our description box, and you can set up a free account with Nav.com to learn about your business credit. So
I use Nav. I actually pay for the Nav now.
Right. I get my little notification every month. Let me know what done hit. Okay.
Yes.
I get my Nav.com right on.
Yeah.
I honestly, what's really funny with Nav.com, I knew about it, but I didn't know about it. It's one of those websites where you're like, oh yeah, I know about that site. But it wasn't until we really started looking into this show that I saw Nav.com, and I was like, they got everything on there.
Yes. Yeah.
They monitor your credit for you.
Yeah.
They monitor your personal credit, your business credit.
This way you telling me when my business bank account is low. They'll be like, you might want to deposit some money in there.
It's like, all right, y'all, none of your business. But you know what? Nav, they actually had a great article on there, just sidebar for PPP loans.
Yes. Yeah.
Of
Well,
what
that's
you
how I
needed.
applied through Nav. I used their
Yeah.
partner. Yep.
Of what you needed so
Yes.
that you can get your loan. Like, honestly, like, I know there was a lot of different people I spoke to that were having questions around that. Like,
Yes.
oh, what paperwork do I need? I found that article on Nav, and that's what I sent to them. I
Yeah.
said, look, it's bad, because it's not that I don't like to tell people, but
Right.
I always feel like if there's a resource that can better explain something than I can, I will shoot that resource to you, because I want you to get the right information and not get a quick answer out of me if it's not a simple yes or no.
Right. Well,
You
you know
know,
what? I hate being responsible for some information sometimes. Like, when people ask for advice for things, and like I'll tell them something, and then maybe they try it and they don't have a good experience, or they try it or they don't try it. And I hate it. Like, and they'll come back and say something, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna do that anymore. I'm just going to refer you to somebody else. Like, if it's, especially if it's out of my area of expertise or something, and I mean, small businesses, there's certain personal things that I know from experience. But like, if people want to know how to like get a business credit card or build their business credit, I'm not even going to try to explain it. It's a lot easier to say, have you tried Nav? Like, it's just like, if you want to learn something, start there. And they'll let them do it, and then they can be responsible.
And they have all the resources there. So if you need to apply for something, like I swear, like we were just, my husband and I, we were out the other day, and he pulled out the fleet card.
Yeah.
He was like, did we talk about business today? Yes, we did. We went to the post office and dropped off packages. So we pulled out the fleet card when we gassed up. Okay.
Yes.
Got that because we applied through Nav.
Yes.
So that we can, that's like the easiest thing to get, by the way, for a business, is get yourself a gas card. All right.
Yes.
A gas card.
Yeah.
You do not realize how much you need a gas card until, gas is $4.50.
Gracious. Gas is ridiculous.
And you're like, oh, and you start looking at your personal funds, and then you look at your business funds. You're like, yeah, I got it, but I'm good for I got it, but I'm good for that, because I got it, but I don't want to spend it. I'm real good for that. So the best thing about that is it allows me to build up my business credit. And it's just, and I get gas about once or twice a month, really, honestly, because I don't go anywhere anymore. So getting gas, I have a nice small balance. I pay that off every month, and boom, now I got business credit.
Right.
Boom.
Yes. Yeah. I think if anybody wants to level up and make yourself legitimate, doing stuff through Nav, building your business credit, even just knowing what your business credit score is, that kind of thing, going that direction, that's a very quick and easy way to level up. And I mean, and that's real talk. I mean, it's just, it has made the difference from my business, from being something that I'm just running, to opening a business account, to trying to establish my business credit so that I can get loans, get more traditional loans, get lines of credit, different things like that. And then credit is leverage. You're not having to use your own money. And what you start to see, especially when your business starts to expand. I mean, COVID was a boon for my business, but it also taught me how much of my own funds do I really want to use? Now that I am a legitimate business, I want leverage. I want to leverage other funds because I know that I can pay it back. So these are things that you have to consider when you want to grow your business and have it go from being a hobby to being something that is a legacy for you and your family. So that's where I'm moving to. That's the future for me, is making it a legacy, right?
That's the future.
So
that brings us to our business pop culture. So
it's a
business
good
pop
transition,
culture. Yeah, I know that is working, isn't it? It's working well today.
Right.
So who are we talking about today? We're going to talk about Sarah Blakely. And you're probably like, who the hell is that? I'll tell you what she is. She a billionaire. I'll tell you that.
That's right.
Self-made.
Right.
Self-made.
Yes.
You ain't got to know her name, but I bet you know her product. It's called Spanx.
Yes.
Spanx has been on the market. Honestly, I think it's been like 20 some years. It's been
Gosh.
on the market. And
Yes.
recently, a company, she sold her majority stake in the company.
Yes.
She still has some positions in the company, but she sold her majority stake to a company called Blackstone. It's a like an equity firm. And what's really nice about it also is they're going to take the company and they're expanding what Spanx
Yes.
is. So Spanx is moving into denim, more everyday clothing with like the Spanx built in.
Mm-hmm.
Girl,
That is going to be a game changer.
okay. Okay. You
Yes.
tell me you can get some control top jeans,
Yes.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yes.
they are taking it and expanding it. And one of the nice things that that Sarah did, she didn't just keep the money and run. Okay. She actually gave all of her employees are getting $10,000.
That's what's
And
up.
they are getting first class tickets to anywhere they want in the world.
That's a good business owner right there.
Exactly. See, now she didn't take the money and go, all right, y'all, it's been real.
Right.
All
See you when I
camera,
see you. Right.
right? She's
Mm-hmm.
like, she's like, I got me some money, so I'm going to give you some money. Let me
Yes.
tell you, people stay where they feel valued.
Yes.
If you do not feel valued in your job, you're not going to stay.
Nope.
Especially in this market.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true.
This is an employee market right now.
Yes.
Right now,
people are going from place to place to place because they can. They are a commodity. And so if you are a business that employs people, you need to consider that you can't just offer them some sort of like lame pay and lame hours and be totally inflexible and stuff. The people aren't going to they don't have to. There's people the store next to you has a sign up and they'll pay them double. I mean, here's the worst part. Not only are you competing, if you're a brick and mortar, not only are you competing with other brick and mortars, there's remote jobs. People don't even have to leave if they don't want to, and they can still make more money. So doing something like what Sarah Blakely did, she's still going to benefit off of Spanx because she sold her majority position, but don't you know she still's got some money? I mean, she still has some investment in that company. So she's still going to make money. Her kindness, how she treated those employees was an investment because she knows they see me leaving. They're going to think, oh, she's the owner founder. Maybe I should leave. She gives them $10,000 and, a present. They're thinking, oh, I'll stay. So she's a very smart, shrewd businesswoman. So obviously, but yeah, that was an investment, in her company that's going to pay her in the end. So.
And I was watching, she was being interviewed on a CBS Morning, and she was saying that everyone kept asking her, what's her exit strategy? And she was like, I didn't go to business school. She was like, she was selling like fax machines or copiers or something like, she was a salesperson.
Okay.
And she's like, I didn't start this to have an exit strategy. I started this because I saw there was a need for this particular product. And that's what I did. Yes. I put that product together and I started to sell them because she's a salesperson. She knew how to do that part. But when it came to business, she wasn't trying to start a business just to leave, because that's what a lot of people do. They start a business, try to get it to the point to where it can be sold and they can make a good fortune off of it. That wasn't her plan.
Right.
She just said, maybe it's the right time. They have ideas of how to move the company forward. She's still involved with her baby, know. So they have plans on, we could take what you did and build on top of that.
Right.
Plus, she's still gonna make money.
She's still gonna make money.
She's still gonna make money. She's still gonna make decisions because her name, even though the name is called Spanx, but and you see her, you know who she is.
Yeah.
You know who this lady is. She's actually been on Shark Tank as one of the possible investors.
Oh,
On
really? Okay.
Yeah,
I
like they
didn't
had that
know that.
time period where they were like rotating, and
Yeah.
she's been one of those investors on there. So she kind of, I think she know what she's doing.
I think so too.
You
I
know,
think so too.
she came from regular, everyday, humble beginnings. You know, she didn't get like some $1 million loan from her daddy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what that feels like. Do you, Nikki? Because I don't.
No,
I
I
have
do
no idea
not.
what that feels like.
I
I
do
don't
not
know
know
what
how that feels.
I can't. I mean, I can't ask my family for $20, much less $1 million. You
Right.
know, for a business. Oh, you want
Yeah.
me to put money in your business?
Right.
Oh, she must be tripping.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so from humble beginnings, and look
Mhm.
at where she is now. And you
Yes.
don't get that without valuing your employees.
Right. No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Because
And I
I've
think
never heard anything bad about her.
me neither. No, I actually used to follow her on Instagram, and she always had really interesting, engaging content. She's a mommy. She had, she has children. I don't know how many children she has, but she
I
has
think
a
she has
family.
2.
Yeah. So she is very similar to the rest of us, just as far as how far you can go. Like, I think that's what we're all working towards, is being able to be independent with our ideas and be able to create something and have it grow and have people buy into it as a whole. I mean, that's the dream, You
Yes.
find a
Yeah.
product, find a service, find a way to cure a pain point, and then let it grow. But along the way, she's probably had mentors and guidance and stuff like that. But you have to grow. You can't always stay in that box. I mean, from where she began, if she had made certain decisions and just stayed in that box, she'd never be a billionaire. She'd have never sold her company. She'd still be, maybe selling on the internet, So you got to be open to taking risk and thinking outside of the box with your ideas, and thinking out limitless still. Like, don't think that you have to continue to do the same things the same way. Change is the only thing that is a constant. So, like I have oils that I sell, but I've been selling them for like, oh gosh, probably about 20 years. It's time to change. It's time to move and differentiate. And that's what I'm working on now, that I have a space that I can, do that in. But yeah, it's time to change. I mean, that's where your business is going to grow.
Yeah, our biggest thing, as everyone, I call myself the resell queen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just physical products anymore that I'm in the resale game now. Now it's all, I've talked about the mobile homes. That's what we're doing. It's less startup. It's less, it's a lot easier, actually.
Yeah.
It's a whole less process. So that's what we're doing now. Is I don't care. I'll be a mobile home queen. Okay. People gotta live somewhere.
Well, it's a good time because there's a housing shortage. There's a rental shortage. There's a housing shortage. They're already talking about how we are going to become a nation of renters. That's what they said. People just can't afford houses. So something has to change. And probably what's going to happen is people are going to change how they live. I mean, I think people are going to change what they live in, how they live in. I mean, mobile homes, hey, I looked at some. They are nice. They have jacuzzis and all kinds of nice. And, I think depending on where you live in the country, they get a bad rap. If you go down, like in Florida, they have luxury mobile home communities. And these houses are as much as like a regular, house on a foundation. That's how much. And it's because it's all in how you sell it, honestly. It's all in how it's presented. I mean, and shoot, you need a place to live, regardless. So I think it really depends on where you are in the country. Some places it has a bad rap, but I think, you change how people view things. Just like Spanx. I mean, that's a perfect example. What are Spanx? Spanx are controlled. I mean, it's underwear. It is tight underwear. It's probably not the most pleasant thing women want to put on. It's all in how it's marketed. If a woman sees that she throws on a pair of Spanx and she can fit into a dress that's 2 sizes smaller, Okay,
Honey.
she's trying it. She's gonna spend $30 on a pair of control top underwear because it's gonna change her life. It's a pain point. You want to look for the reunion. How many of us, our classmates are gonna have some Spanx on? Nikki might have some Spanx on. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Actually, now I think about it, I gotta buy new Spanx because I got the bigger ones. I gotta get me some new Spanx. Shoot.
But it's all in how Spanx is not a new idea though, right? Because we've had control top underwear since we were kids. I mean, it's been around.
Oh yeah.
So it's how she marketed, it's how she presented it, that's how it sold. That's how she got to be a billionaire, by reframing how people see a product.
You right about that, because my grandma always made sure I had my girdle on. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
You got your girdle on? Yes, I got my girdle on. Yes, I got it on. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
And now it's like it's not even a thing. It's, girl, yes, I got my Spanx. Yeah, it's not even a thing. She changed the way that people thought about the product.
That's true. Yep.
That's really all. That's all it really takes. It's all about the psychology. If you can pass that, once you get the mind, then you get the money.
Yes, there you go. TikTok. Perfect clip.
Yes. Let me tell you, this has been a fun-filled show for us today.
I loved it. I'm glad we're back.
I'm glad we're back. To those who are watching, listening, you want to reach out to us, you can always email us at entreprenommies@gmail.com. If you would like to be spotlighted on Entreprenommies, feel free to send us an email, or you can always hit us in the DMs. I am Resellqueen on Twitter. Nicole is Home with Nicole on Twitter.
Yes.
You can always reach out to us if you want to be on a spotlight, or if you want to just come on and talk and ask questions about things that you want to do at your business. We'll be happy to help. If we don't know what to do, we probably know someone who does.
That's true. Or a resource or something. Yes.
We have lots of resources. And honestly, we have a lot of resources just in our graduating class. So we wish that that we have given some enlightenment to you and your business.
Yes.
And we are just happy to be back. I know I am.
I am too. I missed it.
For us to be back together. We have our own separate projects, but it's so different when you're by yourself versus when you're with your friends. When you're together, it's so different.
It is very different. Yes.
I agree. So this has been Entreprenemommies. I'm Tiffy T, the Resellqueen.
And I'm Nicole Flamer.
And we are the Entreprenemommies, the mommies that handle business.
Okay. See you next.
At Entreprenemommies, we share from experience. Moms talk about things that affect moms in general. The mommy entrepreneurs, we are the moms that handle business, and that means a lot. Remember, Entreprenemommies.
I'll be down and bopping.
All right. We